Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name's Dave Abkarian. I'm a comedian out of Fresno, California. And this is a podcast where I sit down with my funny friends, my fellow comedian friends, and we talk about dads. That's what we do here. Hi, I missed you guys. Been kind of a crazy week for me with shows and stuff. I don't know. I wrote down. I'm trying to be a little bit more organized in these intros, because there's some things I always mean to talk about, and I just completely forget about them, and then I remember the thing I was supposed to talk about, but I've already put away all my recording equipment, and it's just a hassle to go back and do those things, set it back up again just to fix one. one little thing. Oh, are you guys hearing that? My equipment's been real buggy. Actually, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Hopefully this records well. We'll see. Check. I don't know. See, the thing is in these moments when it's all cracky and poppy in my headphones, I don't know if it's the microphone or my headphones, and that's a problem. Well, we'll talk about that. We will in just a second. One of the things I was, I'm saying I forget to talk about. One of the things I forgot to talk about last week was actually a correction to the Andreas Taboada episode. It's just a real minor thing where we were talking about that judge from Last Comic Standing, and in the episode we couldn't think of that comedian's name. It's real famous. And then in the post-show credits, I said, I think we were talking about, or he was talking about Roseanne Barr. Then Andreas messaged me after he listened to the episode, and he said, no, I meant Phyllis Diller. So Phyllis Diller, everybody. That's a correction. So what else has been going on? Got a really overwhelming response last week from people having my daughter Abigail on the show. You guys seem to really like that, and I'll try to have her on more often. It's gonna be a little tough. I'm dealing with it's just this weird collision of being a working comedian and also trying to be a dad, and sometimes those two lifestyles don't jive well together. Because we've got a lot of shows that we run weekly, and it's sort of all happened really fast. All started kind of in March. We added a few shows and thought we could balance it, and it's been difficult to balance the comedy time and personal time. And then we're going into this tour next week where me and two other comics are going out to Louisiana, and we're going to be gone for a whole week and doing some shows in between. And I was kind of looking at my schedule, and it's 18 straight days of comedy, which is fine. I like the stage time and everything, but it's just real hard on, as far as being able to spend time with the kiddo and just the idea of not being able to have her or hang out with her or talk to her for 18 days is just seriously one of the most depressing things I could think of. I mean, I don't know. Schindler's List was pretty depressing, but I guess it's different. Anyway, excited about the tour and getting out on the road. It's I'm sure it's going to be fun. But yeah, I mean, the shows are popping pretty well. April's been kind of a rough month for us. Just there's a lot of stuff that goes on around here. I think I've talked about that. I think I talked about that on the show. So we're kind of excited to be done with April. May, the first half of May is going to be pretty crazy because we have these 6 shows a week that we run. But we kind of we have to have people run them. There's a few comedians here in town that we really trust, and so we're kind of handing our babies over to these other comics and to run. And I think they're going to do a great job. But at the same time too, it's you work really hard. It's it is like handing your child over to somebody else, but it's going to be fine. Everybody's going to be fine. We had kind of a weird situation at one of our open mics the other night where one of the comedians, I don't know what got into him. He I was hosting the open mic. No, I wasn't hosting. I was hosting the show, and the open mic was being hosted by somebody else. But I was in the room, and this comic got up and started giving out. He started talking about Infinity War, the new Avengers movie. Started like giving out spoilers from stage, and like literally 2 or 3 people got up and walked out. They're like, I don't want to listen to this. And I was, at that moment, I was outside of the room, and somebody came out and told me what was going on. So I ran back in, and I was like, what are you doing? And I'm not sure what got into him there. But that same comic, I mean, the guy that was doing it, he's a good friend of mine. And then he got into it with one of the other comics while he was still on stage. And he said some things to that comic that was in the audience that he felt real bad about, and then he called me the next day and was like, I need to take a month off of comedy, and he's like, I let that comedian that I got into it with just really get to my head. And I was like, man, listen, the Infinity War spoilers thing was a dick move. I don't know why you did that, but don't get out of comedy. Like, you're really good at this, and it makes you happy. It makes me happy when you're on stage, to watch him. And he's a real funny and interesting guy. I don't know why he did the Infinity War spoiler things, but I guess my point is he was real upset that he let that comedian in the audience get to him like that. And he wanted to take some time off because of that. And that comic in the audience is a friend of mine too, a good friend, and he's just one of those guys that's just kind of like a chronic asshole. He just can't help himself. I guess my point is don't let somebody else have that kind of power over you. That's what the comic that called me. That's ultimately what it boiled down to. Is he had like surrendered. He was surrendering that faculty, that he was gonna give up the thing that he loved to do the most for a month because of some asshole. Guys, don't do that. Don't give the assholes that kind of power. So I don't know why I'm getting all preachy about that. It was just something I was thinking about this morning. I mentioned the equipment thing just a little bit ago, and I think I need some new stuff, and this podcast comes with some like hosting, just some. I mean, there's a hosting fees to put the podcast up on all the networks, and I actually have a few listeners that listen on Spotify. We'll talk about Spotify here in just a second, and it's something I really like doing. I really love this podcast because it is this great creative outlet for me that is kind of all my own, and it is all me. And it's the only creative endeavor in my life that I really have kind of like all to myself outside of my stage routine. So anyway, I like doing it. I also don't make a lot of money. So I have to, I have the hosting fees for the podcasting service, and I have to maintain a Spotify account now, which is $10 a month, so that I can get the episodes up onto Spotify. And then I have some issues with my soundboard right now, and my headphone amplifier, so that my guests and I can both listen to ourselves when we're recording, and so I set up a Patreon. It's if you just search patreon.com/saddadpodcast, it'll take you right to my page, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes too. And for those of you that don't understand how Patreon works, because I wasn't super familiar with it until about a year ago, it's basically a subscription service. You can donate whatever you want, $1 or $5 or whatever, and it charges you that amount every month, and that's money I can put towards those hosting fees and everything to keep the podcast running. And I didn't necessarily want to do that, but somebody was like, it's your art and you're you're putting yourself out there, and people like to help, man. People, and it's true. People sometimes sometimes I guess I don't value myself enough in what I do to think that anybody would be that interested in what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, I know there's some people out there that have reached out to me already and told me some of their takeaways from the podcast, and I'm glad that I've been able to do that for people, and it just makes me want to cry a little bit, like just I don't know, just knowing that you're accepted and appreciated, and so anyway, the Patreon's just a way for anybody that wants to do that and wants to do it in a monetary way. It would be a huge help to me, even if it's not a lot of money, just to know that the little fees are covered. That'd be great. So whatever you can, that'd be great. If you can't, I get that too. I couldn't do it either. It's slim times out there, and I get that too. If you could, a free thing you can do if you want to support the show is rate it and review it on iTunes. That's a thing you can do, and it helps me out a lot, and it's nice to see. Again, I'm very insecure, so so seeing those things again just kind of wells me up a little bit. I think I've been talking for almost 12 minutes now. Let me tell you about today's show. Today's show is it's a lot of fun. It's Jen Murphy. She's an insanely talented comedian out of LA, and we talk a lot about that. We don't ever at any point get too heavy in this episode. Like the Aaron Weaver episode from last week is I'm really proud of that episode, just what we get into and you know and how far we get into it. And it was something like I listened back to it, I was like, man, this is exactly what I wanted out of this podcast. And then I listened back to this Jen Murphy episode before I put it up, and it's just so fucking fun. Jen Murphy is just a delightful human being, and we do talk about dad stuff, but it's just really just kind of a fun conversation between Jen and I, and it all is sort of with a dad motif, dad teeth, dad. It's got a flavor, a dad flavor. Ooh, that's not better. Okay, well, I guess you catch my meaning. So. Anyway, guys, here's my chat with Jen Murphy. I think you're really gonna like it. I really, really like it. I think it's really fun and really funny, and she's amazing. So I'll catch you guys on the other side of this thing. Okay, bye. Weird little spots throughout the United States to hit up for. I mean, that was perfect for what they were doing. This is cross country tour, and
That's awesome.
Because anytime they have an off day on the tour, he would pop in and do an open mic in whatever city they were in, and so yeah.
I was surprised she went to the East Coast. She was really. I mean, she was getting pop.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she's doing well over there too. But the Comedy Store, that's so on fire right now. She was doing well there.
I couldn't tell you.
I know she did have an ex-boyfriend there, though. Maybe that had something to do with it.
Maybe, I don't know. Is my mic? I think my.
You don't want to see your ex-boyfriend at the club every night.
Yeah. She told me she was kind of at a weird crossroads in her career where she was trying to decide if she wanted to settle down into a writing gig because she had a couple of offers for that, or just get serious and road dog it. And so I don't know. I think she figured out, or I think she decided that she felt like some of those gigs would still be there. She wanted.
Yeah, I mean, she's so young.
Mm-hmm, yeah, she's 22. So
definitely got time.
Yeah. So. Anyway,
yeah, she's done well.
Yeah, I hit the record button 15 seconds ago.
Yeah, talking about Olivia. Hey, Olivia, shout out.
Yeah.
This is called the Olivia Grace Podcast.
I'm going to fiddle with your mic real quick. Hang on.
Okay.
I think it's not put down right. There we go. Let's see if it still pops. popping in there.
Is it popping?
I was hearing some pop, but I wasn't sure if it was yours or mine. Anyway.
Pop.
Pop. It was a little crispy. It was a crispy sounding.
Maybe it was my voice.
Could be.
I'm going to talk like this.
You had a fun run-in with some cows. We met some cows. I still
So
have
excited.
Olives.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to eat an olive straight from the tree. And straight from your pocket.
It was in my. They're still in my pocket.
We picked olives from an olive tree. I've never seen a real olive tree. I'm an LA girl.
I should watch those. Yeah. It was.
I literally get so excited when I see farm animals.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why is
like
that?
I pulled my car over so fast.
Did you? I mean, you just.
Well, I've only lived in Los Angeles and New York City. So I think I just never saw them growing up. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I saw a couple sometimes, but
Do you feel like you would?
I don't know.
You feel like you would, like if you had grown up on a farm, you'd be like a really good farm person.
I'd definitely be a vegetarian.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, when I see the cows are so beautiful. And then that's what I was telling the cow when you caught me. I was talking to it. I was like, don't be scared. I don't eat you. I won't eat you, I promise.
Are you?
And then like a week from now, I'll be like, oh, that meat looks pretty good. And I'll forget all about my cow.
Well, you know, Danny and Jen Felix are vegetarians now, or pescatarians. But did they ever tell you how they became that?
No.
They watched. There's that movie on Netflix, Okja, and
yeah.
and,
Okay.
and the animal reminded them of Charlie, their dog.
That's hilarious.
So they don't eat meat anymore.
Well, that's good. See, Netflix is doing good for the world.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
it's so hard because, I mean, I don't eat a lot of meat, and definitely when I see the animals, I'm like, I don't want to eat them. Mm-hmm. But then if somebody presents to you something like, "Hey, try this," and it's like, I'm like, well, it's already dead.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it's not going to make it any more alive.
I'm not going out there slaughtering them. It's not going to make it any more alive. No, it's not. Also, but I mean, like if you look at the cows and like horses, they're big, very beautiful animals. So
Yeah,
it makes sense to get excited. Some people get really excited when they see dogs. See, I don't really care about dogs.
Yeah, you have a really good bit about that.
But I don't. It doesn't really do well with the audience a lot, and I just keep doing it because I like it.
Yeah. No, I thought it was funny. I like dogs too, but you're 100% correct. People are just, it's too much. I think it's like a millennial thing. Like, you know, millennials don't want to have kids or can't have kids, so I think that a lot of that paternal energy gets, you know, focused on animals.
Oh, I see. Well, I mean, like, I really have nothing against dogs, but it makes me angry that you can't fight anyone on it or else I'm the asshole.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a big dog on a plane, like, I am legitimately allergic to most dog hair. Some of them, it doesn't affect me that much. So, like, what if I say it bothers me, it doesn't matter because it's like, no, they have the right to bring that dog on. It's like, what about all the other people that it might be bothering?
Yeah, we forget about people.
I know. That's why I'm saying that dogs have become more important than a lot of people. That's what makes me angry. I really have nothing against it. But sometimes it sounds like I hate them just for
just to get a reaction.
Just because I know the crowd's going to boo and it makes me laugh.
So now, did you start comedy in New York? Is that where
I did?
You did?
But most of my time has been in LA.
Yeah.
I started in New York, and then I was moving back to LA like 6 months after.
Well, how did you end up
How'd
you end up in New York in the first place?
Because I really wanted to be a dramatic Broadway actress.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I went to New York, and I thought I was going to do theater.
Yeah.
I did it for a couple years, but I don't think I was that good.
Oh, okay.
And I used to get like really nervous, like shake. So I started taking like improv classes to try and relax or break out of my shell.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting into stand-up. I never thought I'd do stand-up.
Really?
Because I was so nervous.
Do you feel like, because you don't seem nervous when you get up on stage to do stand-up.
Not now, but it's been like 12 years.
Yeah.
When I first started, I just used to use it. Like I would go on stage and just show my nervous, like just let it show. And people thought I was like playing this nervous character. But it seemed to work. Like the audience would laugh. So somehow it worked.
Well, that's great. I mean, do you feel like you would have pushed past that wall had you stuck with theater?
I don't know.
It's okay.
But also the person that got me into comedy was my dramatic teacher, I guess, acting teacher. And he kept telling me, he's like, every time you try and be serious, it just makes me laugh. And I'm like, what do you mean? being dramatic over here. So he's the one that kept pushing me. I wouldn't be doing stand-up if it wasn't for him, actually.
How funny.
Yeah. Because he was like, look, because he kept telling me to do it. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do. And then he's like, look, he's good friends with Colin Quinn.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, I'm bringing Colin Quinn into the acting to do like a 3-week little comedy thing at the acting school.
Yeah.
He's like, and then I was like, well, now I have to do it.
Yeah. And, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So my first time doing, like, my first joke was in front of Colin Quinn.
What?
Yeah.
That was that
in a classroom.
Was that scary? That had to have been the scariest thing ever.
It was, but you know when you don't even know to have fear in a way?
Sure. Yeah.
Because to me, I was just doing it for fun. I never, ever would have imagined that, like, now I do stand up for a living.
Yeah. It's how you pay your bills.
Yeah. So I mean, I was nervous, but there was nothing on the line. It wasn't like I thought I was auditioning for anything.
Wow. And
to me, it was just something funny to do. And it's Colin Quinn. He's cool.
And you that went well enough for you to want to do it again, I guess.
I only did it a couple times. It went well enough to do it again. Mm-hmm. But I still didn't at that time really know that I was going to pursue it full time. Uh-huh. And then when I came to LA, I met some comedians, and I started going open mics every day. And then I was like, all right, that's when I like fully committed.
Oh, gotcha.
Because if I had known in New York, I probably should have,
Yeah. How long were you in New York?
I was there for 9 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not that is a significant amount of time.
Yeah, it was fun because I went when I was young, when I was 21. So it was just so much, like, such a fun city. And especially when you're young and no responsibility.
And so you really didn't seriously start stand up until you were like 30.
Yeah, I started late.
Wow. See, I started when I was 30, and that's really, I always feel like I got such a late start on it, and so it's cool. Actually, my last two guests, Nick Petrillo and Andreas Tabuada, both started when they were 30 also. So it's very...
I didn't even think Nick was much over 30 now.
Yeah, he's 38.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. I know it's like... I mean, in a way, you have more life experience to talk about. But I do get jealous sometimes when I see people that are starting at 19. And I'm like,
I mean, there's probably like a lot of... I like a good dick joke, but you probably skip over a lot of bad dick jokes when you start when you're 30. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably like a whole arc of jokes that you were able to leapfrog past, just with that life experience. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe.
Also, if I had started younger, I just would have slept with a lot more comics.
I think so. Yeah, that could have been problematic too.
I was so much more dramatic when I was that age. I would have been like crying in the back of comedy clubs. Why doesn't he like me?
That's funny.
I used to cry all the time when I was younger.
Really? You're a crier?
That's the one cool thing about age. Like, I don't know about you, but I feel just so much more like, who cares? Like, there's so much more stuff that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I feel like I was just so dumb in my 20s. Like, 29 years old and 364 days. As soon as I hit 30, I was like, man, that guy was an idiot. I don't know.
I'm still waiting to reach that point.
I mean, I'm sure I'll feel different about it when I'm in my 40s, too. I'm like, God, I was an idiot in my 30s, too. But I think, I 100% agree with age. You feel a little bit more confident. You have enough life. I feel like I'm able to dodge a lot more bad relationships now, like with women I'm dating. Like, I feel like I can spot the red flags, and it's just like it's like that Final Destination thing where you can like see all the way down the whole arc of the awful relationship, and you're like, oh, yeah, snap back to reality. I don't think I want to date this woman. But yeah. So, well, cool. Well, thank you for being on. This is
thanks. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Good night, everybody. We're just having a really awkward conversation about comedy, and then
did you just say you're Jen Murphy? I am Jen Murphy.
I said you are Jen Murphy.
I am Jen Murphy.
Hi. We're going to talk about dads today.
You're going to talk about dads. I have two.
And that was the thing you said last night, and I was like, don't say a word, don't say any more, because I want to know all about that. So you have two. Tell me how'd you end up with two dads?
Well, my OG dad, Ed Murphy. Mm-hmm. We like to call him Eddie.
Edward.
Remember when prank calling was really big in the 80s? Uh-huh. So we used to get prank calls all the time. That's when people would just go through the phone book and find funny names or something. And Eddie Murphy was huge. So we would get calls a lot of prank calls. Like, is Eddie Murphy there? want to talk to Eddie Murphy.
That's funny. Eddie Murphy
Is your refrigerator running?
Oh my God, that's exactly, yeah. Is Eddie Murphy's refrigerator running?
Yeah, so my original dad, my parents were married for 25 years.
Wow.
And then they got divorced. Mm-hmm. And then my mom married her sister's ex-husband. So my stepdad was my uncle my whole life.
Wow. So you kind of already knew the guy.
Oh, yeah, I knew him very well. They lived down the street.
Well, let's start with let's start.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, not at all.
Aren't you glad I didn't say anything last night?
As long as everybody's yeah, no, I'm glad you didn't say anything. This is all new information. There's a lot for me to unpack here, so it's good.
It's weird, but then at the same time, it's cool because I grew up with that family. Like, so I have 3 cousins that I pretty much grew up with, and now they're my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
It's weird, but at the same time, you're like, well, I already love you, so this is cool.
Yeah, just don't think about it.
I'm not stuck with like strangers all of a sudden.
Well, and I mean, and is Eddie cool with the situation? You know what I mean? Like, is he?
I mean, they've never stayed friends.
Oh, really? Yeah, but they're not.
He's
They're not
cool.
the related ones, though.
He's cool. My mom's the one that like didn't want to be friends with him, like is weird about it.
Oh, really?
So I guess Eddie is cool with the situation.
Oh, okay.
I don't think at first I'm sure he was a little weird, but I never really talked to him about it. I don't think.
That's all right.
Luckily, this is when I was living in New York.
Oh, okay. This all happened while
So
you were
I kind
out
of
of town.
didn't have to deal directly.
Oh, thank goodness. And
Yeah.
And so, where did Eddie grow up?
Oh, like Monterey Park, Southern California.
Yeah.
Not far from where we are.
So he was a California kid too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was he like as a kid? You know, have you ever heard any stories about your dad from? You know, was he popular? Was he?
I think he was kind of. I think he was sort of popular, probably. He was a runner. He was into sports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what did?
He went to the army.
He was in the army. Mm-hmm. Was he ever?
Never anything like dangerous.
Never anything. So he wasn't like.
I don't know. He
Vietnam
never left.
Or anything?
He never left the U.S.
Oh, that's cool. And
you ever have some people who say they're in the service but they never left the U.S.? You're like, okay, yeah. Well, do you really get to celebrate Veterans Day? Just kidding.
Well, and actually,
I'm totally kidding. By the way,
and
don't send me hate mail. I'm kidding.
Don't worry. But you've done. Is that how you got involved in like because you've done like the USO tours and stuff?
Oh yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
No, it had nothing to do with my dad. When I became a comic, I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And it took years, and then I finally got a tour to Afghanistan, and I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's scary, but it was so cool.
That's yeah.
So I just went back 2 months ago.
And when you do that, like, so you're on a base.
Yeah.
I mean, are you?
You stay on the main base, and then they fly you out in helicopters to different, like, very small bases up in the hills.
Really?
And
I've
do
never
shows.
been on a helicopter.
That was my first. It was awesome. It was a Black Hawk.
Yeah.
It was so awesome.
And your first
But
trip...
it's also scary.
I was going to say, your first trip on the helicopter...
They get fired on.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real possibility.
Yeah.
I think if I was ever on a helicopter, I don't think that would be a real possibility on my first go-around. I don't know. That seems intense. That seems scary.
But when you're surrounded by the soldiers, you know, they make you feel safe because they seem at ease. And
sure. Yeah. So it's like when you're on the plane and you hit turbulence and you watch the flight attendants. Like, well, if they're not scared, I shouldn't be scared, right?
But the first night that we arrived at the base, the first time I went, and they give you like a helmet and a bulletproof, vest and stuff. Not just bulletproof, but like I forget exactly what it's called, but the heavy vest and
it's like Kevlar or something.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, so just keep this by your bed in case you need to use it. And like if you hear, sometimes they have rockets fired on them, but they're not. They're like homemade rockets from the Afghans, so they're not like real powerful. But they still come into the base, but they usually do it in the middle of the night, so it's not many people. Get hurt. But they said if you hear the sirens go off, just dive under your bed, and then we'll come check and make sure you're still alive.
Holy shit.
So first night, we were just like, what the hell?
Whoa.
I did not sleep well the first night.
I feel like I wouldn't, I don't know. I feel like because they're like, use this if you need it, or whatever, whenever you need to use it. I don't know that I know all the appropriate times that I need to be using a flak jacket,
Yeah, well, we had to wear it like whenever we left the base.
I would probably put it on at terrible times.
But the first night I almost slept with it on. I was like,
yeah. I was like, I'm going to go pee. Put on my flak jacket.
And it's heavy.
Do I shower with it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be awesome. But yeah, it was really cool.
And so Eddie was in the Army. What did he eventually do for a living?
He did several different jobs when I was younger. First job, he worked at Winchell's. He made donuts.
Oh, okay. I love donuts. That's
He used to bring them home. It was awesome.
Yeah, your dad.
As a kid, you're like, that's the greatest job in the world. My dad's making donuts. But then for the last 15 years he's worked, or no, not 15. What am I talking about? 30 years or something. He's worked for a stud welding company. He sells as a salesman.
Sells studs.
Sells studs.
Sells studs. Yeah.
So I know, screws and bolts and that nature.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, my mom, we always did fine. We didn't have a lot of money, but we did, whatever, middle. My mom had this lawsuit. I won't explain it, but she ended up getting a ton of money when I was in high school. So she decided she was going to buy new cars for me, my dad. She bought some new. It was awesome. It was really sweet.
Yeah.
So I'm in high school. She gets my dad a red Corvette with the license plate Ed Stud. And people, we lived in kind of a small town, so people knew it was my dad. They used to make fun of me. I was like, oh my God, so embarrassing. Because they don't know he's the stud welding business. They just think it's Ed Stud.
Yeah, they think he's...
Even he was embarrassed. I think that might have been what led to the divorce.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Did he ever bring home studs like he brought home donuts? Dad, nobody wants a glazed stud. That's fun. I mean, and what
my dad's very, very nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy. What was your relationship like with him? I mean, was he real supportive of everything you were doing growing up, or?
Yeah, he was kind of. Yeah, he was. He was also kind of one of those dads that was mostly working a lot. I feel like I grew up more with my mom.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, but we always had a fine relationship, and we'd take family vacations to Yosemite.
That's cool. Do you have any favorite Ed stories? What's...
Oh, I can tell you. Oh, that's a funny story, actually. I just made this connection, too. How weird. Okay. So, I don't smoke pot. But the first time I did, years ago, I, passed out after I smoked it.
Okay.
And I was at someone's house, at a party, and I literally, where I fell, my head went right into, a kitty litter box.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, disgusting. I was fine. I didn't get hurt.
That's good.
But my mom told me the stories of when my dad, when they were younger, would try and smoke. He smoked pot, and he was at a backyard party too, and he fainted or passed out as well. I just realized that I did the exact same thing. I take after my dad.
Was he a party animal growing up? Was he?
I don't think so. That's probably why he passed out.
How did you meet your mom? Are they high school sweethearts or something? Or I mean, if she knew that story, I guess.
My mom went to an all girls school with his sister. So yeah, they were kind of growing up in the same area.
Were they?
They got married when they're 18, very young.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good run. 25 years.
It's a long one.
Yeah, that's nothing to shake a stick at.
No, we had a very good childhood.
Yeah.
He was a very good dad, yeah.
What?
We used to do chores outside together, My parents were really good because my dad was very strict, but I feel like they taught me manners.
Yeah, you're very polite.
My dad's big thing was pulling your ear.
He would just drag you out of the restaurant pulling your ear?
Not like that, no. Not so much in public. More if I don't say thank you or please.
Oh.
Then he'd kind of grab. He did it more to my brother than me.
Oh, really?
So I learned manners faster.
Yeah, how many siblings do you have?
Well, my real brother's 2 years older. I've one.
And
then my stepbrother and sister's 3 of them.
I see your pictures with your nieces and nephews.
Oh, yeah, I have so many nieces and nephews.
Do you? How do you?
Yeah, because 3 of my brothers each have 3 kids each.
Wow. Okay, they're prolific.
They're all between the ages. They all had them kind of at the same time. So all 3 kids are sort of between 2 and 10 right now.
You should have a
all
gaggle,
9 of them.
A gaggle of nieces and nephews, huh?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's rad. I mean, do you get to see them often? Are they in Southern California too? Or?
Yeah, everybody is. So I get to see them a lot.
Oh, it's perfect. Everybody's. What does everybody think of your comedy thing? I mean, was everybody always really supportive of that? Or
yeah, they were. I think. My mom was always more nervous of she's always don't you want to have steady job and health insurance and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But once I started doing some stuff a few TV spots or something, then they kind of like, okay, maybe it'll work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's scary for a parent,
Absolutely.
I waitressed for like 14 years.
Wow, yeah.
And all like everybody else in my family is pretty well off.
Uh-huh.
They're all in business and my brother started his own business and one of my
Yeah.
other brothers did. They're all very good in business. So I was sort of the one that was still like, at 35, I was still just like broke as hell. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still pretty broke, but
Are you like the
but
wacky
just
cool-
waitressing and like barely paying my rent.
Yeah. But I mean, you were doing it though. I mean, like, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. What was I gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
go work in some office somewhere just because it might make my mom feel bad?
Yeah, right. I mean, you make almost like I don't know if it's a joke or not. I've never asked you before, but you're on stage. You're like, I never went to college. It's usually a tag on one of your jokes.
I went to a community college for like a year, and
Uh-huh.
I went to a dramatic arts college for a year and a half.
Yeah.
But then I
Forget
didn't
it.
get
Yeah.
asked back.
Yeah. Are you?
You had to be asked back. Oops.
Whoops. It's
That
all right.
drama.
There's always comedy. That's my
One day.
fallback career.
One day I'm going to go back to drama.
You think so?
I'm going to be the Robin Williams of comedy.
You feel like, yeah, you'd be the Robin Williams of comedy.
Well, I was just so depressed in high school. Like, I was like always depressed. And so I thought, well, I'll be a good dramatic actress then.
Yeah.
But that's not always how it works.
We're-
And who knew that depression actually helps your comedy?
Yeah. I mean, the funniest people are the quietest people,
Yeah.
I've found.
I mean, I don't really get depressed now that much, but
Sure.
I think a lot of times when I was younger. But I mean, I think it's still in my nature.
Sure.
It's still a default.
Yeah.
You ever hear some people who say they never get to, like, they don't know depression? They've never had. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, and I think maybe they just don't understand. I mean, I don't know. I guess like chronic depression might be something different, but I think we all get blue.
I would think so, but there are some people.
Yeah, they just have the serotonin levels are just through the roof, huh? Yeah. I don't have any of that.
It's because they don't have two dads.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All the pressure of two dads. I got to visit them.
And that's a great segue. Like, what's your other dad like? Is
Uncle Albert, the second
Uncle
dad.
Al, yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah.
Him and my mom have their own business too. They do very well.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's cool. He's Italian, so he was always into cooking. And,
Yeah. And
they're a very family. Like, I'm very fortunate. I have a huge family, and everybody's great.
oh, that's cool.
We all get along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a really good family.
That's great.
Um,
Did you ever? Because you were obviously a lot. I mean, obviously a lot older when your mom and your stepdad got together. I mean,
yeah, I was already in my 20s.
yeah, and I mean, how weird was that?
But
for
it
you
was
to
weird.
be-
It was.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a big problem for the family.
Was it?
Yeah. It really, like, tore them apart.
Yeah, I can imagine that was a lot of awkward Thanksgivings or.
Well, I mean, she was always really close. She has 6 sisters. So then when that happened, they all kind of, like, stopped talking to her.
Really? Wow.
I mean, it is weird. Like,
What?
I don't know. I mean, even if, I mean, her other sister that was married to Albert, like, they were married for 25 years, too. Like, that's a
Whoa.
big...
Yeah.
I have a tickle in my throat. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, and
So it's very big.
and like how much time like was between like the
Only
divorce
like a
and-
year.
I think yeah. I mean,
Like, I don't think they were having an affair, but it's definitely like
sure
a little
something-
shifty.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, it broke up the family for a long time.
Yeah, well,
Long time.
I mean, it probably felt very comfortable for them, you know. I mean, in a way, you know, because he, you know, she probably reminded him of his ex-wife for obvious reasons, being her sister, and you know, and she knew him really well. And I don't know, people don't want to die alone.
Yeah, I think for my mom, it was more like, yeah, because I think when my dad left, like, I had no clue that divorce was even an option. Like, they didn't fight. They didn't really, you know.
Yeah.
They always seemed very happy.
Yeah,
And he was the one that made the decision.
really.
And I think she was just so devastated. That, yeah, like you said, like, then if there's somebody else, you know, she didn't want to be, she'd never been alone since she was
Really.
18.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing to
So
learn.
I think
how to
then
do.
she was like, oh, well, this is, her and Albert were already very good friends, like, you know. So I think it was more like, yeah, this companion.
Yeah.
And when you're that devastated, I don't know that you think clearly, maybe about how you're affecting other people.
yeah.
I don't know.
And learning to be alone's tough, you know. I mean, you and I were talking before we hit record, but yeah, I mean, I got out of a 4-year relationship 6 months ago, and I'm still trying to figure out how to be alone, and especially after a comedy show where there's all this noise and all these people clapping you on the back, and then you come home to like nothing. It's just a weird like.
No, it's
headspace.
weird.
Yeah.
I was in a 3.5-year relationship, and that was the longest one I'd ever had in my life. So I was pretty used to being alone. But then when that ended, I was shocked at like the weird. It wasn't so much that I was like, oh, I want a boyfriend again, but it was like this weird thing of like, there's nobody like checking up on me.
Yes.
I felt that was such a strange feeling of like, I felt so alone. Oh my God, nobody.
Yeah.
Because you're used to having someone that's talking to y'all. Someone that has your back. Nobody has my back. It's just me again.
Right. Do you ever worry about how long it would be before somebody found you if you just died in your sleep?
Yes. It would take a while.
Yeah.
But and then it's hard too to adjust because then like, if you like, I met someone new who like we weren't even really dating, but then I started texting, and almost then I was texting like every day too much, and I'm like, oh God, I can't be treating him the way I treated my ex-boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I forget the mindset of like you can't just be like all day. Hey, we're buddies.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, hey, you gotta.
And then people are like,
give it some space.
Which I would get freaked out. I think I totally freaked him out, but I would get freaked out too. Somebody new does that too. You're like, whoa, slow down.
It's really hard, like sometimes to like if you're both in it to win it. Like there's a girl I'm talking to right now, then things are going really well, and it feels like it's gonna be a thing. But we both are crushing on each other pretty hard. And sometimes you have to like pump the brakes, I mean,
you do. It really is a game. Like you don't want to go into it thinking like I got to play this game, like in a bad way. But it is. You do have to a little bit,
right? Because you could be blinded to a lot of like red flags when you're just crazy and head over heels for each other, and stuff that doesn't surface for a while because you've just put your blinders on because you're just so happy you found somebody that can put up with your bullshit for
Somebody likes me.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know, but that's going well.
Oh, good. Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm still out here alone in Fresno.
Yeah. In Fresno.
I'm telling everyone in Fresno right now.
Yeah.
Whoever's listening to this in Fresno.
I mean, there's cows.
You got 24 more hours. There's cows. I'm going to go talk to them again when I leave here.
That's fine. We can.
Just for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's I'm trying to think.
There's a horse over there.
There's a horse over there. I think there's a work around that fence. There's like a little opening I can show you if you want to. Like,
I can't go in there.
You probably shouldn't go in there.
No.
But maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
What if they don't like me?
I think they're going to be pretty indifferent.
Did you see those horns coming out of their head?
Yeah.
That shit can kill you.
I mean, I think at least they'll probably be pretty apathetic to you, which is almost worse. I think just acknowledge me.
I wish I could go in there and like sit on their back.
Yeah.
Like ride a cow.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, it's the closest you could probably get to like riding a triceratops or something, That's always been a dream.
Yeah, and then I'll just smell real good. I won't shower before the show. Make sure I smell good.
Just really steep yourself in it. And and there's probably people in Clovis that'd be into it. So it's a big rodeo town.
Find out tonight.
Yeah. I think they're gonna love you. It's gonna be great.
I hope so.
The big end of this month is the big Clovis rodeo.
Oh shoot! Really?
That's a thing.
Oh, I wish I was here at the end of the month.
It's a big thing. Last week,
I've never been to a rodeo.
Actually, I don't know that I have either, and I've lived here my whole life. I don't know why that is. I don't know.
I think when you grow up somewhere, you just sort of take that kind of thing for granted.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I live by the beach. I never go. People are probably like, how do you not go to the beach every week? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I've met people from Southern California that have never been to Disneyland.
True.
I mean,
that's
a thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah. When you go up around it, you just don't.
Yeah. It's just a thing. It's just there. It's not magical.
Well, let's make it both of our goals to go to a rodeo in 2018.
Okay.
All right.
It might be easier for me.
It will be, but that's okay. I'm up for the challenge.
You missed last week as the precursor to the Clovis Rodeo, which is Big Hat Days.
Yes.
It's where they have a big street festival thing, and everybody wears ridiculous hats.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is
the bigger
awesome.
the better. Preferably cowboy hats, I think, is the angle.
I just had an idea for you.
Okay.
This doesn't have to do with big hats, but I was thinking about how you make your children better, more responsible people.
Oh, okay.
Is you should make your daughter mow that lawn.
That's great. She's
My parents made me work from a young age, and I really think it had a very good effect. Like, even though I'm like kind of broke and stuff, but I mean, I'm always a hard worker. Like when I have a job, I work hard at it.
She's 7, and I use a riding lawnmower, but I could probably teach her how to mow the lawn.
I had to pull weeds when I was a kid. Did you ever have to do that?
Oh yeah, my dad made me do awful things when I was those orange trees that you saw.
You had a lot of work on this property.
Yeah, like I don't know. I can't remember if you make me do it as a punishment or as a chore, but I just remember spending like entire Saturdays just picking up like oranges that had fallen off the tree. They're all gross and
it's good to make your kids work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she does chores around the house, but yeah.
I mean, 7 is young, but
yeah, but no, you're right. You're 100% correct.
I don't know why I had that thought.
And that's okay. I think the worst thing my dad ever had, my brother and I do, was we at one point we had pigs, and
oh man,
we had one of the sows. One of the sows had fallen asleep in the mud and like drowned, like she'd like drowned, and my dad had tasked my brother and I. We were like, I think maybe like 11 and 12 at the time, or to like bury this pig, and it's this big. I mean, she was probably, I would guess, about 160 pounds.
Jesus.
And there's like this, and I don't know why. I don't know
why.
Were
you devastated when she died, or did you kind of not really?
I mean, it was a bummer, but we had a lot of pigs, you know, and it was. It's okay. It's a burp guard.
Sorry. I was trying to hold it in. It came out. Sorry. Go ahead.
And so I wasn't. We were just more kind of focused on the task at hand, and it was kind of gross. And so we get this pig like up and over the fence. The fence is like a 5-foot high fence, and we like, I don't know how we did it. And looking back on it, my dad, I don't know where my dad was in all of this. But
he was drinking beers in his lounge,
probably, yeah, and
shooting some pool.
And but my brother and I are just so exhausted. We haven't even like buried it yet. That was all just getting it out of the pig pen, and it took us hours to like engineer this whole situation, and so we still had to like dig the hole, you know, and it had to be a big hole. And
is it still buried back there?
It is. We buried it, and we just kind of we're like, that seems deep enough, and we shoved the pig in there, and we bury it. And then, like, later on in that week, our dog comes running up to the house with chewing on something.
Oh, God, no.
And my dad's like, what the f*** is the dog chewing on? And then he goes back to where the dog had, like, dug up the pig. And so
he ate some of it?
Yeah. And then the following weekend, my dad was, like, furious at us. And in hindsight, I was like, you didn't show us how to do anything. Like, we just kind of, like, had to figure this shit out. And so we had to, like, dig a hole next to the original hole, like dig up the pig and then like roll the pig into the new hole. So that was like my.
How come you didn't eat it?
I don't think you want to, like, because it wasn't. I guess we could have. I don't know. It was. We did. I don't know if you're supposed to eat pigs that. I mean, it had been dead for like overnight, you know. I mean,
oh, okay.
And I don't know that you're supposed to eat animals that haven't been like killed in a humane way. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I
don't know anything. Obviously, but
the thought never really.
I was just curious.
It was so gross.
I wouldn't think a dog would like tear through a pig's skin to eat. Like that seems like a wolf thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Dogs are savage too. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. The little squeaky toys make the squeaky sound because that's the sound a dying rabbit makes, and dogs love that. So
that's the inspiration for the squeaky toy.
Yeah, have you ever heard like a dying rabbit?
No, I never knew that.
Yeah, it's.
That makes me sad. I had no idea. I thought they just did that to annoy the hell out of humans.
No, it's just that's the sound. They're little wolves, man.
Oh my God, I had no idea that's what the inspiration came from.
Yeah, I got weird. God. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Let's talk about dead animals. See some roadkill when I leave here.
I can tell you just horror stories. And those are like the kind of chores I grew up doing.
What if I got as excited about roadkill as I do about cows?
Oh, that would be. I mean, there's a lot of that.
I just love seeing dead animals.
I mean, that's not something you'd have to drive to Fresno to see. At least you could. I'm sure there's plenty of roadkill in LA.
Just get on the highway.
Yeah. Did you ever see that X-Files where the guy?
I can already say no because I've never seen an episode of X-Files.
Oh,
is that weird? I've never seen one.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I like the X-Files. I'm not going to get all judgy about it or anything, but I remember there's one scene where a guy, he was one of the monsters of the week, and he like picked up a piece of roadkill, that put it in a bag, and then like licked his gloves. I was like, I just remember
nasty.
that. I remember that that imagery really sticking with me. Every time I hear and see roadkill, I always think of that.
It is so hard to eat meat after you watch like one of those documentaries where they slaughter the animals and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like I said before, you forget about it after a week.
Yeah, they're so good.
Bacon.
I'm really hoping this like synthetic meat thing takes off. You know, where they like lab grow the meat and stuff.
You're hoping it takes off?
Yeah, that's better than.
Yeah, but wouldn't it have to be like filled with chemicals and stuff? Shit.
I don't know. I think they can just grow it pretty. I mean, it's just cells dividing in a dish. You know.
Are they going to have to do that because we're running out of animals with all these people?
I mean,
do you ever try and contemplate or even imagine on Thanksgiving where the fuck all those turkeys come from? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not supposed to curse.
You can use swears. Yeah.
Like, sometimes I think about it, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, every household in America is eating a turkey.
Yeah.
Like, just millions and millions of turkeys.
Yeah, and they're like, I mean, in like...
How do they even...
I mean, there's actually places around here I could drive you to if you want to see. There's like
hundreds of turkeys there?
I mean, thousands. And like, they're just in these tiny little cages. Some of them... and like, now they're like, so the way they engineer them, like, their breasts are so big that they can't even like... walk around. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts. That's why I'm hoping for the lab grown meat thing to like be a thing, you know?
Yeah.
As long as it tastes good.
Yeah, because it's not as healthy for us when they're the way they're pumping the animals full of stuff
that can't be good.
That's why young girls are getting bigger breasts earlier in age.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's from the animals.
Oh,
the animals have breasts too, see?
Oh, Jesus. Soon
it's from the turkey.
Soon they're not going to be able to walk around.
Wish they had that when I was a kid. Pretty soon you won't even need push-up bras. We'll all just have huge boobs.
I forget who. There's a comic that came through recently. It has a bit about how he hopes they don't take the antibiotics out of meat because then he won't get any antibiotics because he can't afford health insurance.
That is so funny.
I just butchered his bit. It's really funny though. Yeah. Oh man.
Are you liking the dad thing?
Oh, I think I'm good at it. Goodish. I deal with I have a lot of guilt over certain things, like last night's. Like, her mom put her into softball, and that's kind of like thrown a wrench in my schedule of spending time with her, you know, because normally, like, she had a game last night I had to miss, and because of the comedy show, and I don't know, like, I feel like I'm not good at like being a softball dad, you know. Like, her mom is great at it. Like, her mom grew up playing softball and stuff, and she knows all like the things to yell.
I didn't know there were certain things you're supposed to yell to softball guys.
There is, yeah, and it feels like
I thought you just say run.
Yeah, no,
run.
They're like, there's one. What's the one thing she yells sometimes that always makes me laugh? She's like, stroke it. And I don't know.
Stroke it?
I have no idea what that means. I don't know. I'm like, can you stop yelling that? That seems a weird thing to yell at a 7-year-old girl.
It sounds really weird.
Yeah. And I feel like there's like 3 types of softball dads. Like there's like the super alpha dad who's works out a lot, has a really pretty wife, has a lot of like expensive things like shirts and stuff, but I also get the sense that he's like in way over his head on his mortgage too, you know.
Yeah.
Like his life is literally on the verge of completely falling apart at any moment, and probably owns his own business, and it's probably not doing well, and he doesn't want to talk about it. And anyway, there's that dad.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, there's that
funny.
dad. And then there's like the other dad that's sort of like the quintessential sports dad. He's usually like the husband of the coach, and like he's happy to help out with like the softball team, and he's like always chewing gum, and he's got like a hat, and it's got like it's a blue hat with a white C on it, and I don't know what it stands for.
Studied these.
Yeah, I would look around at these dads, and he's like happy to help out with the girls' softball team, but he's most happy that he has a son. You know, like this thing is fun, but he's just really glad he has a son, and his son's usually there helping.
Idea.
Yeah, and then there's like my favorite dad though is like the dad that he's just happy to be there. He's kind of a weird looking dude, and he's kind of chubby and overweight, and his wife is kind of chubby and overweight, and they have like a gaggle of kids, and his wife's pretty overbearing, but he's just got this big shit eating grin on his face because he somehow like threaded the needle and got a family, like because it was looking real bleak for a couple of years.
That is awesome.
That's my favorite dad, and I don't know where I fit in. I don't know. There aren't any other like single dads that like show up, you know, and so I don't know where I fit in. I don't know if I'm a weird like subcategory of one of those dads. I don't know.
You're the jolly dad.
I guess. I'm like, I don't know. I don't talk to anybody. Like, I just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a good softball dad. I'm a good everything. I mean,
small talk is so tricky.
It is. And, like, I don't know what I have in common with these people other than our children are on the same team, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you invite them all to your comedy shows?
No. I think there have been a couple of parents who be like, "Hey, I saw you," you know, and that have been out and recognized me. It's always kind of fun when that happens. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I don't know. Do your brothers ever have to deal with that? Do you think, or are they like really good softball dads? Do you think?
They go. Yeah. My brother. I went to a couple of games. All the parents were just like. Most of them weren't even paying attention to the game. They were all they bring hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and they're having cocktails.
Oh shit, that sounds fucking rad.
They're not really watching the game.
Oh, that sounds so fun. Like all our parents are like super involved in like coaching the kids.
That's probably better. I mean, the kids don't know that this was a 5-year-old game, so you know they're running.
Holy shit, hors d'oeuvres and
kids don't
drinks?
Care. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I know.
Are you like the cool, like wacky aunt that like blows through town every once in a while? And like, you know, is that you? Or
probably.
Kind of like this whimsical, like Mary Poppins like character.
I'm the aunt that is like has the same maturity level as them. Yeah, I love playing with the kids. They're fun.
Yeah, you seem like you'd like just get down and wrestle with them.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I like to play.
Yeah. Is Christmas time like crazy? I mean, how do you get gifts for everybody, or do you kind of like play for them?
I try to, but it's just so much. Well, now that there's kids, we stopped buying gifts for the adults, really. So it's all we basically just buy it for kids.
Sure.
Yeah, because you don't really need to like give. You know, I mean, if I see something cool that I think my brother would like, maybe I'll buy it. But there's no pressure to really give.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because when there's not many kids to buy for, too, it's like.
Yeah.
You know.
Like 9 children. Is that?
Yeah.
Did I count that right earlier? Yeah. Cause 3 and 3.
Yeah.
And 3.
So. Which is good. Christmas should be about the kids.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's. I don't know. Have you ever shown up for Easter? Have you ever been part of the Easter egg hunts? Those are really fun.
Oh, yeah. I did it this year.
Oh, that's the best when you're hiding the eggs. And like, these little fuckers don't know what's going to They'll never find this.
Kids are fun because it's so easy to like just make them happy.
Yeah. They're just super into it.
Like they were looking for eggs, and some of them just had like a sticker in it, and I was like, oh, they're gonna be so disappointed. It's just a sticker.
Yeah.
They're so excited. I guess because there's just something in the egg.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like the same way I get if I show up to a show and there's like free mozzarella sticks. I'm like, no way. I got mozzarella sticks. Like something's so exciting when it's free.
You were going on about the fried ravioli at the hotel last night.
Because it was free. I checked in and they're like, you get a free appetizer. I was like, whoa. It was 3 raviolis.
But they were great raviolis.
I had so much fun before I came to the show. I wasn't even in that lounge very long. Did I tell you the people were playing Jeopardy?
What?
So I go up to the lounge at the hotel I was staying at, and there's like 7 other people in there. Uh-huh. And it was right there when I walked in. It was all serious, and the news was on. I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Trump was talking, and I didn't realize that we hit Syria.
Yeah,
so I was like, "What is going on?"
fired a bunch of missiles at Syria. Yeah.
So it was like so sad. I was just like, everybody's just watching the TV. And then I got fried ravioli. And then after the news, Jeopardy comes on. And all of a sudden, slowly, everyone just starts talking out loud, like saying the answers.
Yes.
I wish I could have stayed longer, actually.
Yeah.
I had to go to the show, but after about 15 minutes, the whole bar is yelling out answers, and we're all laughing. And I was like, oh, this has become so fun.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, nothing like Jeopardy to bring everybody together. Yeah. They need to have more like kids Jeopardy tournaments.
I tell the worst stories. That was so boring. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I like Jeopardy. It's fine. Like they haven't had like a good like kids tournament in a while, and it's making me feel real dumb. Because regular Jeopardy makes me feel dumb.
Oh yeah, but the only thing I felt good about it was like, well, maybe I can learn. But then I'm like, I'm not gonna remember this stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much like the Jeopardy. It was more like, you know, when you get that feeling of just camaraderie and togetherness with strangers.
Yeah, just that energy.
There's something so nice when you feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It's weird to describe.
And you kinda like
there was only like 8 of us, but
Uh-huh.
for some reason I just felt it.
Yeah.
Like when I was leaving, I said bye everybody.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, I only knew them for 15 minutes. I'll see you again.
Yeah. I
should have started handing out my business cards. Please be my friend.
Yeah. On my way to the show last night, it was almost a complete opposite in that I was driving there, and I guess I just didn't check I cut this guy off on the freeway, and then I was like, oh shit, and I got over.
Did you get flipped off?
He flipped out on me. Like he was honking his horn and like rolling
Did you
down his
laugh?
window. And at first I was like, fuck off. And
it always makes me laugh when people get angry.
yeah, but then he wasn't like stopping. Like he got behind me for a little bit, and like just was like right. And I was like, dude. And then there was kind of like a wall of traffic that I merged into, and then he couldn't get back over, and then I just took an exit. And
I had a lady flip me off yesterday, and I just started laughing because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And it's been so long since somebody did that to me.
Yeah.
And there's something funny about a really angry lady finger just like...
It's almost a little bit like refreshing. Like when
It
somebody
made
like,
me laugh. I literally like laughed out loud. I was like, oh my God.
it's just like an open display of raw emotion, and we just don't get a lot of that. Sometimes we're just so filtered.
Funny. I never flip anyone off in LA though. Because I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I try not to be that kind of person anyway, but even if I'm really angry or something, like you said with that guy, you never know what crazy person will keep following you.
Yeah.
Or try and scare the hell out of you with like a gun or something where like it's too scary.
I mean, I read an awful story. This is gonna get to fuck it, we're doing this. I read an awful story.
Don't fight it.
Yeah, this girl who had just gotten her like graduation dress, and she was merging onto the freeway and cut a guy off, and like he shot her from his car into her car, killed this poor girl.
Jesus.
Yeah. What the hell, man? Like, why is this a thing?
I mean, there's times people cut me off and I'm like, you know, I just in my car, I'm like, come on, not like I say something. Mm-hmm. You can kind of tell when someone is doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where, like, I know I've cut a lot of people off just by accident or, you know, maybe you're about to miss your exit and you kind of veer over and it's like, you can't get that angry.
Right. Yeah.
And then there are some people who are kind of assholes. They're like going in and out of lanes, just being...
Right. I mean, there's obviously some kind of like projection going on. Like clearly you've got some shit going on in your life, man, that like you're projecting onto my car and it's very easy because you can't necessarily see my face and realize I'm a person. I'm just a car in that moment. And it's easy to get mad at somebody.
I yell too much in my car, just at myself. Like, but sometimes I forget that the window's down.
Ooh,
oh my God.
A
few days ago, I started yelling like, God damn it. And the guy I was yelling about didn't hear me, but and then I look and there's this woman crossing the street just looking at me like scared, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm the crazy person yelling in my car.
Right. Do you ever listen to your
by myself?
Do you ever listen to your like sets in the car, like on the drive? Do you record your sets much, or
I don't record all of them, and I should.
I mean, me too. I could be.
I can listen to it sometimes, but then sometimes it's painful.
Yeah.
But I should do more.
Yeah.
I learn a lot more from... I'm trying to record more video. Mm-hmm. Because there's some things I learn from watching myself, like weird... Where I'm like, why do I do that? Like weird mannerisms.
Yeah.
I used to laugh a lot in between my jokes, so I've tried to stop doing that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean...
I noticed that. I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. What am I doing?
I didn't notice that, but I mean, I get what you're saying as far as like your man, like... policing your mannerisms and tics and stuff on stage. Yeah, that's a never-ending battle, it seems like, because you're way farther along and you're still thinking about that stuff. Apparently that's not anything that we ever grow out of.
Well, I think I didn't. I mean, somebody pointed it out to me, so otherwise I might not have noticed it.
really?
You know, because when you're just yourself,
Yeah.
you don't always notice.
Somebody pointed out to me recently, and I never thought of it, but they're like, oh, you have a stage voice. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm not like, I'm putting on it's like a bit of an exaggeration of myself. But
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, and I didn't know how to like take that feedback.
I mean, I don't think Bill Burr always talks that way.
Yeah, right.
If he does, I feel bad for his wife.
Yeah, and I was just really confused by that feedback.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Sebastian Maniscalco's amazing.
Yeah.
He is way exaggerated
There's
on
no
stage.
way he talks like that. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. So
I mean, we're entertaining people.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, that makes me feel better. I wasn't sure how to he was like, you got to stage it, and then just walked away. I don't know what to do with this information.
That's hilarious. Just dropped a bomb and left.
I mean, I don't know. I was trying, and I've tried to figure out what he meant by that, but yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like there was malice behind it, but
now I'm really going to pay attention tonight and see what I think of your stage voice.
yeah, that's fine. I mean, cool. Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't paying attention last night. Nothing personal, but I was talking to Renee.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
think during your set.
Yeah, it's all right. You didn't miss much. They were not into me last night, so it wasn't my night.
I'm sure you did fine.
Yeah, I mean,
They were very spread out, and it wasn't. They were good, but yeah, they didn't have the togetherness. They had all been sitting in the middle. It would have been a little.
Yeah.
And there was at least 3 jokes I didn't finish because somebody yelled before my punchline, and then you're like, it just feels weird. You're like, I can't finish this.
Yeah, exactly.
They got really chatty when I was on stage.
Yeah, and I think that's what they wanted. That's usually our Friday crowds are a little bit more raw like that.
I feel like they wanted me to make fun of them or something.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Kid
Yeah,
in the front row got all of it.
100% correct in that. And I just stuck to material. I should have engaged more. I think they would have liked me more if I had engaged them a little bit more. But whatever.
Sure
I mean, I got
You're
a lot
funny.
from it. Oh, thank you. But yeah. Anyway, well, we've been talking for a long time.
How long?
53 minutes and 40
It
seconds.
goes so fast
It does go.
when it flows.
And I know we got way off topic, but I feel like we talked about dads.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't
Yeah,
know that
I
I gave you a lot of dad stuff.
No, I feel like there was.
When you said, do you have any stories about Ed? I was sort of like, do I? I don't know. I didn't even think about it.
You're the first guest to ever ask me about being a dad. So
Oh,
that
yay.
was cool. Yeah. Well, that's neat. Well, Jen Murphy,
Thank you for
thanks so
having
much.
me.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the people where they can find you on
Yeah,
social
find
media?
me at Jen Murphy Comedy. Just one N. JenMurphy Comedy.
Yeah, and you got a couple albums on
Instagram.
iTunes too.
I have
don't you?
2. You should go buy them because I need money. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
things are good.
Cool.
Maybe I'll be traveling to your city. Hit me up.
Yeah.
Tell me where you live, and I will come.
I'll put all your album info and your contact info in the
Thank you.
in the info on the show. So cool. Well, thank you so much, Jen. You were awesome. You want to eat some olives?
I want to eat some olives.
Let's do that. We're gonna eat some olives, you guys. All right. Okay, and we're back. All right. That was Jen Murphy, everybody. FYI, those olives were fucking terrible. Turns out they were not ripe, even a little bit. I bit into mine and made the grossest face possible. And Jen's standing across from me and sees that happen, but it was like too late, and she was already biting into her olive, and it was not good. It was terrible. Oh man. So great episode. Thanks again to Jen. Check out all of her stuff. Her albums are great. They're on iTunes, though. I mentioned it in the show. I'll put a link to them in the show notes. You guys can download those and support her because she's a working comic, man. She's doing it. She's she's all over Southern California performing, but she gets out on the road a lot, and it's not always an easy thing. So if you can buy those albums, that'd be a big help to her. Or just follow her on social media too. That helps. So then you can see where she's performing, and you can go out and support her in person if you can. So again, great episode, Jen. I just slapped my knee. That's great for podcasting. The old knee slap. I got a text message from my dad this week, and he owns his own business, and I help him out with that business. And it's his business. In his business, we use a lot of buckets and barrels and stuff. He makes chemicals, and we have to keep costs down. We reuse those buckets and barrels. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. And I'll wash those buckets and barrels for him. And I use a pressure washer to do it. And our pressure washer kind of crapped out on us, and it was only working about half as well as it should. So he bought a new pressure washer, and he sent me a text message about the pressure washer. And then he snuck in, something in to this text message that I'll just read it to you. He says the pressure washer will need oil. We had one like this before. It's about 50% more powerful than the old one. Kenny thought that since it was new, it wouldn't need oil, so he ran it until the engine froze up. Please don't make that same mistake. In case I haven't said it recently, I love you and I am very, very proud of you. I wish I had been more like you when I was your age. And sorry. It meant a lot to me, just because my whole life I've been trying to be like him. Sorry, I hadn't read that text message out loud. And he mentions my brother Kenny there, my late brother, and Kenny used to wash the buckets and barrels, and I don't know, it's just sort of this, he just kind of Trojan horse that sentiment in there with while talking about a pressure washer, and anyway, so yeah, Dad, I'll keep oil in the pressure washer. So that's been our show. Now that I'm a fucking mess, I didn't. Yeah, guys. I'll catch you guys next week. I'm gonna be out on the road next week, so I'm gonna try. I have one episode in the can right now. I try to have like a 2 to 3 episode lead time. But last week I was working with a comic, and normally what I'll do is I'll sit down with our headliners for the week, and our headliner last week wasn't super comfortable talking about the dad thing. Not the best relationship, and I respect that too. I mean, I never. I hope it doesn't come off like I'm like dish, like tell me all your dad drama. I mean, sometimes the conversations end up there, but I try to get them there naturally, and that's not even my intent. I mean, I know I had somebody say recently, like, "Oh man, you really dig into that dad stuff. You know, you ask all these questions, these personal questions," and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, that's never what I try to do. Like, I mean, if you listen to my questions, they're like, "What's your dad like? Where did he grow up?" You know, and it sometimes it progresses to that real deep stuff, and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, Jen and I kept it real light and fun this week, so I just try to let the conversations be what they are. And it's never, I'm not trying to go for like some weird, like, gotcha dad journalism or anything like that, where people are just talking shit on their dads. I try to back off when they seem kind of uncomfortable. And I'm getting better. And that comic, last week that didn't want to get into it, I totally respect that. So, yeah, guys, I'm going to be out on the road, and I've got one in the can right now that I'll release next week. I should be able to do it from the road. And then I've got to play a little bit of catch up when I get back. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm working real hard. I'm going to try to there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts to everything I have going on right now. And I'm going to try to keep everything moving and working like it should. But there might be some extenuating circumstances where I might get a podcast out late to you guys in the next couple of weeks. And so if that happens, I apologize in advance, but you guys are all rad. You guys are all super cool, and I love you to death. So cool, guys. I will see you next week. That's been our show. Bye.